question. You say, what are these trees called? These are mainly two kinds of trees. One, a Balanites aegyptica, and the other, a shepherd's tree. And I've just bought trees of the East African savanna, and so I'll find out more about those trees in due course. But those are the main ones, and they're not the flat-topped acacias that people think of when they come to an area like this. And I guess those impressions come from the Serengeti rather than the Masai Mara up here. We'll try and get a bit closer to some of the vultures. I think that the Rupel's griffin vulture, which is a very close relative of the white-backed, I think he's a rather beautiful fellow. And then we'll see if we can't get to one. Lots of leopard-faced vultures here as well, of course, which are the biggest ones. And in fact, if we look off to the left there, just park nice and level. No, try and park nice and levelish. There we go. You can see trees full of vultures all over the place. And those ones with the mottled backs are the Rupel's griffins. There we go. You can see the light starting to fade slowly. It's not very late yet, but there's quite a lot of cloud in the west, which means that the sunset and the western sun that would be hitting us normally is well gone behind the clouds. There we are. And then just down below that oh, it's gone now. There was a hitchhiker on one of these wildebeest, and it was, of course, not an oxpecker, but a wattled starling. Let's see if I can't find another one of those. Now, normally the wattle starlings where I'm from will fly around the feet and pick up the invertebrates rather than actually hitchhike. Deborah, you want to know when most of the Mara vultures nest? I don't know. I guess I can find out for you straight away if you like. Let's find out here on my... I'll check my app first, and if I don't succeed there, I've got a very nice book as well. A vulture. Let's go with my favourite, which is the Rupel's griffin. See what it says. No, it actually just describes what it looks like, which of course is rather obvious because I'm looking at it. They nest in cliff and rocky outcrops, much like that's interesting, much like the Cape vultures. Ooh, look at the rain. That is distressing. Where are you pointing the camera? Oh, just exactly where we were thinking about going. Well, we're not going to go over there now. Let me just have another quick look here at my other book and see if I can't get a satisfactory answer for what time of the year they breed. There we go. That's it. Birds of the Masai Mara. Let me see if I can't find something on the vultures. It is a very sort of ominous feeling evening, this one. On account of the rain and the cloud, we had a beautiful day without any kind of cloud at all. And then, really typically, as the afternoon started to fall, so the clouds began to build. Right, page number 40, I believe, is where I need to be looking. Here we are. No, this is mainly just an identification guide, I'm afraid. So I can't tell you when they breed, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. Oh, here we go. Breeds in low densities, usually nesting atop an acacia or desert palm tree. But it doesn't say when. I suspect they're fairly aseasonal, you know. There's always a fair amount to eat here, despite the fact that obviously the migration is not always in town. I think this is more kind of a bonus time than it is something that everyone depends on for their staple, you know. And that goes for all the predators as well. There's plenty to eat here all the time, and this is just a kind of bonus time of the year. Aaron, you're wondering about the rarest vulture species we can see in the Mara. I suspect quite strongly that it is the... I think you can you get Cape vultures up here? You might be able to, if not the Cape vulture, the white-headed. But again, I'm going to check that up for you quickly. Let's just have a look-see. Well, I mean, you can get a palm nut vulture here in theory. But that would be very rare indeed. But I haven't yet to see one here. Egyptian vulture, perhaps. Yeah, you can get Egyptian vulture. That would be very unusual. And no, you don't find Cape vultures here, which is quite interesting. You do get white-headed. They are pretty rare. Although, I mean, their distribution would indicate that they're not particularly rare. But I think you will find them. You'll find them pretty rare. So those would be my answers. Somewhere between the white-headed, the Egyptian, and the palm nut. Well, I mean, if you saw a palm nut here, it would be pretty far out of its distribution, but it is possible, and I'm sure they have been seen here. Alright, we're with the flattest cats in the Masai Mara, just some lions a little while ago, and now we're going to carry on, but Byron would like to tell you more about his spotted flat cat.
Well, our spotted cat is laying down. Oh, I don't know why, but I must be honest, I don't like the term flat cat. Don't judge me, everyone, but I really don't like it. Now, I think the other vehicle's moved off, so that's a good sign. Hosana's going to stand up now and he's going to walk around for us. That's my wishful thinking kicking in there. You know what? Patience. As I've said many times, patience pays off. It's getting a bit chillier now. So we're gonna sit with him, because it's just so nice to be able to sit with a leopard like this, and he's rolling around, he lifts his head now and then. And as I said, it's starting to cool down, so chances are he might decide to get up and move around some more. That's what I'm hoping for. Now, because these other vehicles have left, I don't want to miss out on anything. I'm always so scared that if I say, oh, you know what, he's going to rest and sleep here, and then and he won't do anything, and we move, and next thing he'll get up, and it's Murphy's law. He'll get up and start moving, and who knows what he'll do or what he'll get up to. So Rita, you were asking if leopards can die from being malnourished. Yeah, well, yes. I mean, if they don't get the food that they need, if they're hungry, they're unable to hunt, they're not strong enough, then definitely be able, or definitely die from lack of food or malnourishment. Amazing. Okay. Just pointing out the leopard to one of the other guides. Oh, Riti, you asked how do leopards groom their coat. Well, Riti, they, like any of the big cats, they'll just clean and lick themselves. Now, the big cats like leopard and lion have got they've got barb-like hairs on their tongue. They've got very, very rough tongues. So by licking and cleaning themselves, they actually get a lot of the ticks and fleas off of them. He's lifting his head now and then. I don't know if he's gonna. Let's watch him. Come on. But they do so just by licking. They'll clean themselves and groom themselves very, very well. Very thick tongues, just like a lion. A lion's got an incredibly rough tongue, and so do the leopards, with these little hairs on the tongue, little barbs, almost that make it very, very rough. And you'll see it. Probably the best example is when you see these cats feeding on something. They'll often lick the carcass. They'll lick and clean some of the skin off, and they use their tongues. But you can hear and you can see them actually pull the carcass with their tongue just by licking it. Especially the lions. You'll see a few licks, and they'll clean an entire patch of hair off the carcass, and then they'll start feeding. So I'm not going to give another alliteration for the tent, but let's head back to Taylor. She's got a few carcasses and skulls that she'd like to show you.
I definitely have a carcass. Now I'm just trying to, I don't know if it's actually going to work because the wind is now picked up and it's just blowing everything around. What can I use? Now I need to play what can we use to shelter what I want to do from the wind. I'm sure bones would work. Let's use that. I need to try and just get a bit of protection over here. Is that going to work? Because it's a spider carcass that I want, not a carcass, exoskeleton that I want to show you. You know what I'm going to have to do? We'll do that in the next segment. I have to play around and unfortunately get it into a container of some sort, quite a deep one. I think that will probably protect it from the wind because it's not going to work now. And I also need to then take away the old web. But I won't tell you which spider it is just yet. Anyways, we have another clip which was quite interesting of lions, buffalo and elephant. Are you ready to watch it? Because I am. So I think let's have a look at that one. I think it's clip number 1.
Okay, everyone, something has just materialized over here. These lionesses have spotted some buffalo moving not too far away. But look at that. Oh, that buffalo is getting much closer. I think the buffalo. Yeah, there we go. The elephant are trumpeting. There we go. Oh wow, look at this. Yes, this is incredible, everyone. Just again, everybody, for those sensitive viewers, if you are watching, it's not always easy to see, but this is nature, everybody. So just bear that in mind, please. And this is interesting. Let's just watch. There's some elephant coming into the area now too. Let's see what happens. Wow, this is... Oh. Look at that. Managed to shake off that lioness and get away. Now with this elephant just off to the right, you might see it coming into frame. There we go. Now you see the lionesses moving off very quickly. Wow! Look at that. Isn't that incredible? Buffalo managed to get away and the elephants chased the lions off. You see, lions do not really like big elephant. I'm just going to watch what this elephant does. No, easy. I'm not going to move. She's just chasing that other lioness. Don't charge us. Hey, don't worry. See, I don't want to move. No. Hang on. We're not here to hurt you. See, I don't want to make too many loud noises and sounds like this other guy is doing. See, they're a little bit upset with these lions around. This is just a young elephant there.
Right, welcome back everybody. You're now live with us. That clip that you did just see, that Byron had the privilege of sitting in that sighting. I think it was last year actually. I remember I was still working at that time. I don't know what I had. I don't think I'd had something as exciting as that. But that was just a catch-up clip. You're back with us. Remember, hashtag Safari Live with all of your questions. This is happening right now. Now, that is an amazing sighting to have. And I reckon within a space of a couple of months, Byron first hit it off when he had that incredible sighting. Then Jamie had a sighting where the lions were feasting upon a buffalo, which they'd killed, I think was the night before, and a group of elephants came in and chased them off of the carcass. And then the elephant then investigated around the carcass. And then one evening, you might remember this too, we had a similar sighting. We'd sat with Ngahuma Pride the whole day, and the little ones were climbing up on the marula trees. It was so great. It was when the cubs were still quite young. And we sat off and they started stalking the lionesses. And I said to you, we're not going to follow them because we don't want to ruin the chances of the hunt. You always want to give the animal an opportunity. And then we heard the distress calls and David and I went racing down. And then unfortunately the gremlins got us and we weren't able to continue. But the same thing happened, just as you saw there with Byron. Unfortunately, the buffalo that they caught died relatively quickly. It must have been extremely weakened from the drought. And you saw that from that clip. You could see a lot of ribs. You could start to see the spine and all the vertebra. So it just shows you how these animals unfortunately suffered during the drought. The predators, however, seem to thrive until the white mussel disease came about, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. What I do want to focus on, of course, is that when something is being attacked by a predator, even if it's a fight amongst the same species, they make a lot of noise, they're in distress. Wasn't it incredible how we always say about the animals are always speaking the same language? Now, as that young buffalo bull was distressing and saying, help, help, probably calling other buffalo, the elephants heard that call and they came charging in and said, right, we're not putting up with this. And I don't know if you noticed right at the end that one of the lions is actually just hiding away in the bushes, just standing absolutely still. Now, it's not often that we see lions sort of performing the freeze technique, which was one of the 3 very basic strategies that animals will use to try and evade predation. I thought it was very, very interesting to observe something like that. Just sitting there waiting, elephant completely forgot where the lion was distracted by all the vehicles moving around. What a great sighting, and handled so well by Byron too. And I'm sure he probably still tells his story, or that particular sighting, to all his other guests that he's fortunate of taking out on safari. Now, one thing that to me was pretty incredible was, did you see Amber Eyes? Did you see how she took charge in that entire sighting? How she got up, she made the first run at that buffalo, that young bull, and then pounced on its back and then held on for dear life. And it's very, very important. That's very, very risky and very dangerous for a lioness to do that, because if it was a fit, healthy buffalo bull, things could have gone wrong. He could have bucked her off and she would have fallen to the ground. And well, let me tell you, that's the scary thing about buffalo, is that they don't stop. They come back, and that's why we on walks are always so worried about them. And that's what they do to lions. They'll keep coming back and keep horning down into the ground with those very, very sharp tips. These buffalo skulls that we've got here, let me see if I can bring this one down. Or unfortunately, I'll just use this one, it'll be easier. We're quite old bulls, and if you look over here, you'll see that the tips of the horns are not particularly sharp anymore. That's not going to do too much. I mean, it would be very sore to have a buffalo using all of its weight. Remember, they can weigh up to 800 kilograms, so almost a ton. Imagine all that pressure pushing down on you. It would still hurt, but when they're a young fit bull, it's not quite needle sharp, but I'll tell you right now, it will hook into your skin, it will rip you. And if you're not careful, if a lion is not careful, obviously we try and not bother the buffalo too much. They'll get themselves into a lot of trouble and actually end up being killed by the buffalo. So that's why they're one of the most dangerous animals in Africa, the buffalo. A force not to be reckoned with. Let me put this back. Now we have a question from Bobby, and that is, should I sit down? I don't know what to do now. Up, down, up, down. Sorry, Bobby. You're wondering, can the lions paralyze the buffalo by biting on the spinal cord? Most certainly, but they're not doing it for that. In fact, the reason why they are biting on the spine like that is one of the main reasons. You'll see they just chew. It causes a lot of bleeding. And when an animal like that is under stress, it's obviously getting hot, it's using a lot of energy. And if you make it bleed, well, then it's going to weaken it quicker as well. You know what I think is going to happen? As I feel, yeah. I'm on a very unlevel piece of ground there, and I thought if I dare lean back in my chair, which you should be able to do, I'm going to topple over. And can you imagine how much trouble I'd be in from James? I reckon he'd probably fly here in a hot balloon to come and sort me up from knocking his skull straight off. Be a disaster. Now, Aurelia, you're wondering if other herbivores will always help each other in a case like that? No, not necessarily. Sometimes even buffalo go, hang on, we may be biting off a bit more than we can chew. We're going to stand back, and unfortunately, Bob, you're going to have to take one for the team, type of thing. But where they will, where they can, they will come charging in and try and help. I've noticed, though, if anything, it's normally elephants that come to the aid of various animals rescue. And I've actually had sightings, like I said, many different times where elephants charge in and try and chase lions away when they're trying to bring down a buffalo. So I don't know if anyone else has had any other encounters. Maybe we can pass this question along to Byron and perhaps James too. Maybe they've had other experiences where different prey species have come in to assist. I've actually only seen it with buffalo, elephants and lions. I can't say that I've seen any encounters. Of course, there's the famous encounter of the Kruger sighting where it was buffalo versus crocodile versus lions versus buffalo again, and eventually that little calf got away. I mean, that's just an amazing sighting to have the apex predator in Africa, which is the crocodile. Not only does it go after every single animal species, it doesn't discriminate from herbivore to predator. They'll eat it, but they also consider us as humans as food. Them and the polar bears, got to watch out for them. So yes, imagine having a sighting like that, and that is a possibility to have something like that, and that's the joy of Kenya. You just never know what you're going to see, and I think everybody's so excited about the Masai Mara and the Mara Triangle and everything that goes on in it. But we're going to go across now, not to the Mara, we're going to head straight to, well, just down the road actually. However, if I shouted this link out, Byron might be able to hear me. He's still with Hosana, and I wonder if he's woken up from his cat nap.
I have actually woken up, Taylor, and we're still sitting with Hosana, but I dozed off for a little bit, but I am awake. Now, I know Taylor was referring to the leopard. He's still resting and lying down, not interested in moving. I think we'll give it a few more minutes. We were very fortunate at least to get him moving around and following him for a short while before he decided to lie down. Nice for him. Nice to spend time with the leopard like this. Now, I've just been listening to the radar. It doesn't sound like there's too much else going on. There are a few vehicles, and they've all just come into our sighting with the leopard. But it doesn't sound like there's too much else going on. But we'll drive around shortly. I think we've spent probably enough time with them. We'll see. Maybe, who knows? He could get up fairly soon. Now, I know Taylor was showing you that wonderful sighting of those lions with the buffalo, and it was an amazing sighting. It was really interesting. And then to see the elephant come in and help the buffalo. And like Taylor says, I've only seen buffalo or elephant come in to help other animals. Usually it's more a case of they smell the predators. They don't like the predators and they come and chase the predators. Exquisite Bliss, you were saying Hosana's camouflage is amazing. It is indeed. It blends in so well with that dry grass. I do sometimes wonder, though, that these animals, when we are around, I wonder if they don't, even though they're not threatened by us and they are relaxed, I wonder if they decide to lie down and rest like this when the vehicles are around, and as soon as we leave them, they then get up and start moving. I think it does happen from time to time. I think our presence does disturb them a little bit, to an extent. Although saying that, I've viewed leopards hunting and with them not worrying about the vehicles at all. But I think if they're just moving around, if they go and they lie down, they probably do that because they don't want to be followed anymore. Perhaps, I'm not sure. James, good question. Okay, you say, which commonly used fact or commonly used story about leopards do I find false? I think the one, and this is actually a funny story. So I think the one is that leopards only move around at night and are mainly nocturnal. That is false. I can guarantee you that is false. Now, a funny story, a guest of mine, a guest that I've been taking on safari since 2009, I think, and he is so passionate about leopards and would specifically request to look for leopards. And he was at a dinner party last year sometime, and they were having a conversation about nature and wildlife, and the topic of leopards came up, and he spoke about the leopards, and this lady then said to him, "Oh, but you don't see leopards during the day at all." And he said, "You do. You definitely do. They move around during the day too." No. That's an absolute lie. You do not see leopards during the day. And he got quite upset. He eventually said, "Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you anymore, because him and I have been viewing leopards for years and seeing leopards move during the day many, many times." I mean, we saw Hosana walking around at 3:30 in the afternoon. So, yeah, 3:30, 3:45. So it just shows you. And I've seen leopards 10, 11 o'clock in the morning going off and hunting. They definitely do move around during the day. We just probably don't see them that much. So, James, I think that's one that I can say is definitely not true. I'm trying to think of what else, what other facts or stories have people mentioned about leopards that are untrue based on what I've seen. I've been very fortunate. I've seen. Well, there's a little stretch. That's usually a good sign. Stretching. I don't know if he's... But stretching and yawning with most of the cats in general is a sign that they may potentially get up and start moving around. They could also just get up, move 2 meters, change position and lie down again. Barbara, you asked, is it possible to judge or gauge how large a cat will be judging on its paw size? Barbara, that's tough. Look, Barbara, I mean, we can judge obviously whether it's a lion or leopard track based on the paw size, so we can tell that it's either a female leopard or a male leopard, or a lioness or a male lion. Now, Barbara, in terms of the actual size, I don't think so. Not necessarily, but I'm sure that's pretty accurate enough to be able to tell you whether it's a lioness or a male lion. That's pretty close. However, I've seen some male lions with very small tracks. Now, there's a coalition that we used to see on Londolozi for many years, the Majinga lion, and their tracks were actually quite small. Occasionally, the trackers would look and they'd almost second guess themselves if it was a lioness or a male lion. So some lions might have smaller tracks, some male leopards might have smaller tracks than others. But I think in terms of judging, look, whether it's a male or female, you should be able to get that right. So, Barbara, I think, you can kind of have a guess at whether it's a large cat or a small cat. In terms of actual size, probably not. I don't know. Alright, well, to be honest, I think we have spent enough time with this male leopard. It's been a wonderful sighting and nice to spend time with him, and he seems quite relaxed, but I think we'll give him his privacy and allow him to carry on with whatever he feels like doing. We'll drive around, starting to lose a bit of light now too. Maybe we have some luck with some owls, but let's head back to Taylor in the tent, and we'll see you soon.
It's lovely. Some nice ice cold water, of course. Now I've managed to get my spider situation sorted. I believe that if I look like I'm moving in slow motion, in a sense, it's just going to change some camera settings. Am I making you seasick? No, not anymore. It's fixed. Right. So I actually had a serious argument with the spider and the web, because it was a nightmare. It kept getting stuck to my fingers, and then it kept getting stuck to my knife, and then the stick, and then I'd think I'd have it right, and then the wind would blow it over, even though I put it in a container. Right. So can we please go to the microscope? How cool is that? Look at that.
Oh, sweet, eh?
Beautiful. Even Essentia. In Essentia's words were, did you just say, "Ah, sweet, eh?" Well, there we go. That's exactly what it is. I don't know how sweet a spider can be. I've never eaten one before. Should we try it? This is not an actual spider, though. It's just the exoskeleton, and this is actually a sack spider. Now, I seem to talk about sack spiders quite often, mainly because they attack my brother all the time, and I've told you many stories, so I shan't bore you anymore with my brother versus sack spider incidents. And Ben, who is only 8 years old, you're actually wondering, do we have any spiders? Well, it's like I said, it's not a live Ben, so this used to be as part of a spider. It's its old skin, so it molted. Now, it's very important. Many different animals out here molt. We see lizards molting, we see snakes molting, we see lots of different insects molting, and then, of course, the arachnids, the spiders, do exactly the same thing. And if they don't molt, they can't grow any bigger. I'm kind of glad, though, that we don't molt as humans. Can you imagine? That would be terrible. Or a leopard molting. But there is actually a couple of things I really wanted to show you on the microscope, if that's okay, if we can go back there, just so that I can have a look, so I can just talk about a few things. There we go. So the reason how I know that it is a sack spider is very, very easy to, of course, notice. If you look at its mandibles, look at that, completely black, and that is typical of the variety of sack spiders that you get across the globe. And then, of course, they're normally that sort of creamish color. Now, it was quite interesting how a sack spider actually has to shed its skin. It's something that and to be honest, I don't really know too much about, so I apologize in advance. I'm going to try and explain how they do molt, but I shall be doing more research to find the proper terms. So yes, I actually have a bit of a phobia of spiders, but this one's okay. So what happens is, I'm going to try and get a stick in here now. No, I think if I try and get a stick in here, it's going to be an absolute disaster. So you can see that it's all hollow, and it's just the outside of the skeleton now. When they prepare to molt, it's basically like they need to pop out of their own skin. You can imagine this is a very dangerous state too, because they can't properly defend themselves when they are molting, so they're vulnerable to predation as well. Anyways, they increase the hemolymph, so that's insect blood or spider blood. They don't have blood like you and I have, and by doing that, they increase their sort of heart rate as well, and then they're able to burst out of that skin. And then in between the old exoskeleton and the new exoskeleton, it's quite interesting. There's something called molting fluid. I'm not exactly sure what molting fluid consists of. That's something that I want to dive into and do a whole lot more research about, but they secrete it, and that's to help create a gap between the old and the new exoskeleton. And I suppose it also helps with sort of trying to slip out of it a lot easier. And then I thought to myself, what happens to that molting fluid afterwards, because I've read about the molting fluid before, so I quickly popped it into the interweb, and they said apparently the spider then reabsorbs it, which is quite interesting. But I just found that absolutely fascinating. But you can come back to me now. I thought you'd like to have a look at the sac spider, but remember, you don't actually want to touch this spider at all, because they have a cytotoxin, so if it does bite you, it can cause necrosis of the skin. Luckily for us, you're probably not going to die from a sac spider bite unless you are completely careless and you just let it get infected. Then you'll get a secondary infection, and that's often what might end up causing you to end up in hospital. So don't do that. Just keep those wounds nice and clean. And it was also a very nice example of the web, don't you think? You can see why they were called sac spiders. It's a thin, flat web, unlike that small little spider we had in the grass, using lots of strands. That one was almost a sheet, and it actually made it in the corner of the tent, but it wasn't being used anymore, so I disposed of it. We had a look at it for education. Right, let's go back across to Byron. It seems as though he has left Hosana. He said something about owls, and he's been hooting about them all day. Let's go see if he's managed to find one.
Well, we'll try our best, Taylor. We did leave Hosana. He's still lying down, resting. So I'm sure he'll get active fairly soon, or maybe later this evening. Start moving around. The temperature's definitely dropped. Well, I think it's going to be a cold one tonight. Best I zip up my jacket. Where should we go, Craig? I'm trying to think. Ooh, we were asked to check the genet hole, or the genet tree, or the tree with the genet in it. Okay, I'm going to try freewheel. Let's see if it's there. Hold on. Come on. There's absolutely nothing. There's no genet in that hole, unless it got clever and is hiding from us. I mean, it's possible that it changed trees, changed areas maybe. I don't know, but no genet in there at the moment, unfortunately. I was really happy when I did find that genet, but looks like the genet is too clever for us. It's okay, we'll see what else we can find. Trying to think which way we should go. Wow, there's a lot of elephant tracks here now. I wonder where these elephant headed. Looks like they possibly went south across our boundary. Maybe we still find them. Chatty Meg, you wanted to see elephant. And I hope you heard my explanation of the whale and hippo scenario and distant cousins, the hippos and whales. I'd still find that bizarre. I can't believe it. Like I said, I think if we go that far back, everything is a distant cousin of some sort. And as I said, even James and I would then be distant cousins. We should actually send him that comment and see what how he feels about that. I can just imagine James's comments. Yeah, he's probably trying to throw himself under the Land Rover as we speak. Is a genet's baby called? It's called a baby genet. I actually don't know. See, like if you obviously mean is it a cub or a pup or something like that? Wow, these elephants with three. I can see they broke this branch. Which way did they go? Let's see if I can find them. Now, see, genet. I wonder. Oh, there's some dwarf mongoose up ahead. Let's see if we can see them. Hold on. And see, Nick, let me check. I've got a feeling it's a genet pup. I've got a feeling it's a genet pup. Don't quote me. Let me first double check. Let me see. I'm actually not sure. Let's see if these. I don't know. I don't know if I trust Google. Apparently, Google says it's called a kit. I've never heard of that term before. Oh, and Taylor said so too. Okay, I believe Taylor. So let's just see what they say. Reproduction, young or born. See, this book again doesn't give me any information on that. So apparently it's called a kit. Now, why? Why would it be called a kit? It's not related to cats. A kit. Anyway, that's the term that is used. Kit, K-I-T. So, CNAC, that's what a young genet is called, a baby genet, a kit. And you see, that's why I love this. We're always learning something. I love and really enjoy Safari Live, and especially all the viewers that send in the information and that afterwards, if we perhaps don't know, because it's funny. It doesn't matter how long you have been working in the bush, how long you have been guiding for, you will always find something that you've never seen before or that you don't know. We are constantly learning, and that's what is so fascinating about this job, and why I love it so much, and why I enjoy getting people out into Africa, because there's always something new. It doesn't matter how many times you come, how many times you go on safari, you're always going to see something new and something different, and we're going to learn together. And that's the beauty of nature, I think, and that's wonderful. So a kit is a young genet. Thank you, Taylor and Google. Where are these elephants? Oh, they've been quite naughty. They've been throwing branches around, their trees pushed over. And it looks like there was some wallowing and that going on. Have a look at this. These elephants went to town in the mud wallow. Now you can see. Do you see how it's definitely been? They've been splashing mud on themselves. You can see signs of their elephant tracks in there. You can see how the mud has been pushed aside. So they've been rolling, splashing themselves. And I can just see the big footprints. That's why I know it is definitely elephant. But only elephant would create that amount of, or could we call it damage, or that amount of mud to be thrown around. No other animal would wallow and make that amount of mess. Oh, it would have been great to see that. Maybe we can still find the elephant, who knows? I wonder where they would have gone. Alrighty then, well, we will try and see if we can find the elephant. Let's head back to Taylor in the tent.
Yes, I have not gone anywhere. I'm still tenting Taylor. I'm just remembering to put my multi-tool away, because that's how they get lost. Or in my case, they get taken away from me at the airport. I've lost many of those that way. Now, I've got two different types of thorns here. I'm trying to not prick myself. Look at them. Isn't that cool? Very sharp. We'll just have a little look at them. I want to actually put them under the microscope to have a closer look. Should we do that? Yes, I think let me take them back. Let me put them down here. Right, let's get rid of the dung. Oh, hang on, sorry. I'm just scraping away. I will get to the microscope now. Wait. Now I've got to try and concentrate here. No, don't move. Stay. Okay, let me see if I can get this in focus. Wow, okay. Let's go to the microscope. This is impressive. That is what I'd imagine a velociraptor's claw to look like, which is a dinosaur, for those of you who don't know what a velociraptor is. That's not a velociraptor claw, of course. That is the thorn, the hooked thorn of a knobthorn tree. Isn't that very impressive? Now, that can quite easily make you bleed. We'll do a little test just now. I will sacrifice myself for an experiment. We'll see which thorn is sharper. I think that is pretty sharp. Now they've got thorns like that, sort of opposite each other, going all the way up the branches, which is quite nasty. Now you can imagine that'd be not very sort of nice if that hooks onto your clothing. Nevertheless, when it pierces your skin. Now I'm going to trade it because there's another thorn, of course, that I had in my hand that I'm going to put underneath. And then we're going to do an experiment afterwards. We're going to see how this goes. Oh, wait. Actually might have to raise this one a little bit. Here you go, up a little bit, because it's thorn. No. You have to stay there. Oh, no. Stay. Now, this is a tricky one, because this is from the buffalo thorn, and it's got two different types of thorns. It's got a straight thorn and a hook thorn. So to try and get them in the same shot, trying to balance the stick could be quite tricky. So please just bear with me. No, it has to go up even higher. Let's try that. No, come back into the camera. It's so difficult. Promise you're probably all laughing at me. But it's so tough. No, now that's not showing the angle that I want. Oh, we may have done my experiment without me even asking. Okay, let's do. This one's not going to work. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to see which was sharper. So I said this is for science. So on the buffalo thorn, you've got the straight thorn and you've also got the hook thorn on the other side. That's why they call it the hackensteek. And you can imagine, now both of them are equally as sharp, but the one that I'm most afraid of is not actually the hook thorn this time, is the straight one, because it's the one that always gets, always the one that pricks you. The little hooked ones are the ones that normally rip your clothing. So where are we going to test? We test on my finger. I apologize, my hands are also very dirty. Please don't judge me right now because I was digging, and if you look on my table, let me just defend myself very quickly. Look what is here. You see all of that? Dung, antelope dung, from impala to inyala to duiker and steenbok is all on the table. So that's what I've been digging through at the moment. So that's why my hands look like they do. But we're going to prick my finger. We'll just pretend that I'm checking my sugar levels. I'm too scared. I can't prick it on purpose. I'm a little baby, even though it's just a tiny little pin prick. So I pushed it in and then it started hurting, so I stopped. Let me just see how much sharper. So it's pretty sharp, but I think maybe this could be the... No, maybe it's just because my thumbs are now so tough from digging in the dirt that my hands have become just one callus and they're too tough for the thorns. Okay, well, that's not working. Oh well. Anyways, they normally do work. I prick myself on them all the time. Anybody that's come on safari either has been driven through a knob thorn branch or probably more a buffalo thorn tree by their guide, or if you're like me, you just seem to stumble over them all the time. Exquisite bliss, you say that's a strong word. You say that I'm mutilating myself for the viewers. Not quite mutilating. Mutilating is a seriously strong word. I was just pricking my finger, but as you saw, I was too much of a sissy. What we'll do is the next time I do a bushwalk, I'll just do what I normally do, and I'll probably end up with a scratch or two. It's impossible. I've got scars all over my legs from the amount of branches that I normally kick back into myself. I think I've actually shown you them before. And like I said, when you go on safari, whether it's a bushwalk or in the car, somebody always ends up being tangled in a buffalo thorn. Oh, well, I'm so sad that I was too much of a sissy to do my science experiment to see which thorn was sharper. Oh, well, let's go across to Byron now, and... I'm not sure what he's up to. It's starting to get dark. The sun is definitely set. Is that spotlight out yet? We'll have to go and see.
You're just a thorn in my side. That's all you ever were. Don't tell James I sang, but I thought it was appropriate because Taylor was testing the sharpness of the thorns. Taylor testing thorns. Not quite alliteration. Oh, Rusty's making funny noises. That's not good. So we just driving around. No sign of those ellies. I don't know where they disappeared to. Maybe we bump into them. Tomorrow morning, at least, there'll be 2 of us out again. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So Senzo is back from the Mara. So Taylor and I will be on the vehicles tomorrow. What's the date tomorrow? Is tomorrow the 1st? No, it can't be. Tomorrow 31st. I guess we lose track of time out here. Days. Craig, shall we try find an owl? I was really upset yesterday with that scops owl. Couldn't believe it. Spotted it and then it disappeared. Machine gun nest. I'd love to see a martial eagle too. We haven't seen a martial eagle for quite some time. I doubt we'll see one now this time of the evening, but they are around, so maybe in the next few days we'll see one. We'll try and keep a lookout for birds of prey. I was saying the other day or yesterday, we haven't seen too many birds of prey lately, but then we saw bateleur, we saw tawny eagle. This morning from the tent I saw that tawny eagle flying over with a lilac-breasted roller mobbing and chasing it away. And we'll see, maybe, who knows, but I'd love to see a martial eagle. It's my favorite bird, absolute favorite bird. Although these little owls are starting to creep in. A lot of wonderful birds around. Always nice to see them. Let's see, I better spot an owl tonight before Craig does. He keeps rubbing it in and he teases me when we get back to camp. It's very awkward in front of all the other staff members. There goes a Koran. There goes a Koran. Oh, let's see if we can see it. It just disappeared. You know what? I don't think we're going to see that Koran now. It landed in the long grass. Can you see it? That Koran was so well camouflaged. I don't think we'll see it. Sinak, you asked what types of owls do we see in the Sabi Sands. Sinak, we see giant eagle owl, or the Verreaux's eagle owl, or what I learnt this morning, also known as the milky eagle owl, milky white owl, milky eagle owl. It's a giant or Verreaux's eagle owl. The spotted eagle owl. We also get white-faced scops owl, barn owl, pearl spotted owlet, African barred owlet, and African scops owl. That's 7. We have seen, this was a few years ago, but a grass owl. We did see grass owl out here too, down in the southern part of the Sabi Sands. That's 8 species of owls that I can think of. Trying to think, am I missing one? No, I don't. I think that's it. Oh, have a look here. Good evening. We've got someone that's just joined us. Beautiful male Inyala. So 8 species of owl that I can think of. Let me see what. Let me just double check myself. If you can think of any other owls that I haven't. I think that's about it. The only ones that I haven't seen here in the Sabi Sands are the Pell's fishing owl, the marsh owl, the Cape eagle owl, and the wood owl. The rest I've seen here, and those are the only owls we get in southern Africa. So actually a great amount or great variety of owls around. Nice to see these male inyalas browsing. Sorry, Chantal, you said our Laura Moore said that this male inyala has got. Our Laura Moore, you say this Inyala has got sparse stripes, not that many. Well, the males, the stripes aren't always that clear. Not nearly as clear as that on the female, but it does look as if those stripes are quite widespread. There's definitely quite a large gap between each stripe. There it goes. There goes another one. But yeah, the males generally, the males generally don't have very prominent stripes. But those ones did look like they were a lot fewer and wider apart, which is quite interesting. There's a hornbill. Sorry, Craig, you're right there. Adele, you asked if I prefer the night or the evening safaris or the morning safaris. Adele, I don't know. I get asked this a lot, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I must be honest. I think I prefer the morning drives generally, because it's exciting to find fresh tracks and trying to look for animals, and especially in winter it's cooler. And you get animals moving around for a lot longer in the morning. Although the afternoons you get to stop for sundowners. So I don't know. I think I would have to say the morning, but it's difficult. It's difficult. Adele, you asked what my best after dark experience is. Well, that's a personal question. No, kidding, Adele. Best evening experience. You know what, Adele? I've had. It was actually not with guests, but with family. We were on safari, and we had. I took family out into the Timbavati. We were staying there, and we had 4 male lions around our vehicle, and they were roaring all at the same time. And that call, Adele, it is unbelievable to hear lions roar, but to have them close up is just extra special. And these lions roared for us a number of times, and we were basically surrounded by these male lions calling. And for me, that's by far one of the best sightings I've ever had. Just because of I think the sound, the experience being there with them. Also because I was with family and friends, it was just wonderful, absolutely perfect. So. And that was, I think, one of stands out by far as one of my best sightings, not just evening sighting, and like I said, just for a number of reasons, but to hear lions calling like that is just amazing, especially when they're so close. And at night we would sit lights off completely and listen to these lions roaring around us. Craig, are you looking for owls? Craig says he's looking for everything. Thank goodness. There were some hyena tracks, a lot of elephant tracks all over these roads, but I haven't seen any elephant yet. Probably moved through here during the course of the day. But there are hyena tracks heading down the road too. Alright, well, we'll carry on our search for owls and maybe a hyena or two. Let's head back to Taylor in the tent.
Where's it gone now, in Essentia? There it is. Okay, hang on. We have a daddy longlegs. I found it in one of the skulls. Now, it's a young daddy longlegs spider, and it's missing a leg. It's actually quite interesting. I've just been watching how it's very capable to move around without an eighth leg. Are you going to stay there? This is the hard part, because it's still alive, it crawls. But it is so beautiful. So let me just try and... Stay, spider. Please, we want to see you. Let's see if it's going to work. See, I don't want to show you just yet, because it's running now. It's not cooperating. So, like now you can see that this is live. Otherwise, I would have given you the... It's actually quite funny. Let me put this microscope in focus, and maybe we'll just see it run across the screen every now and then. It can feature like one of those live wallpapers that you get to see. Okay, we're on the microscope. There's no spider there just yet. No, hang on. No. Spider, go down. Go back in your little plastic container where... no. In you go. Sorry, it's coming. It will come your way. It's going to go there now, I suspect. Okay, I'm going to shift it. Sit still. Here it is. Look at it moving around. Oh, look at it. Look at that. That's amazing. Do you see that technique that it's doing? What it was doing there, how it was shaking vigorously. So that sort of gyroscope technique. Now, that's a technique that they use of daddy longlegs. This is the underside of the spider too. This is not the top side of the spider. He's cleaning his eyes by the looks of it with his pedipalps. Now, what they do there is they sort of shake themselves on the web. And hopefully the idea behind it is that if they have been spotted by shaking themselves and moving very, very quickly, whatever was trying to feast upon them would then lose focus and not be able to spot it.
That is awesome.
Isn't that amazing? Now, I'm just trying to figure out how I can angle this even better. It's so hard to navigate. I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. You're probably all laughing at me. I'll get it in focus now. Oh, we're just going to have to look at it in the bottom corner like that. But it's very pretty. Like I said, it's a small one. It has lost a leg, but it is doing fine. It'll be okay. And I was really hoping we were going to see it walking around, because it's got these beautiful sort of silverish white striking markings on its body. But I will release it, don't worry. I will put it back into its skull where it belongs. I didn't want to use a fully grown daddy longlegs spider, because it was actually quite difficult to even fit this little thing in the jar. Oh, I'm just trying to shuffle it around again. There we go. That's how I want it. Now I need to put it in focus. Yeah, amazing. Oh, I really wish it would turn around, but I'm just happy that it is still. How cool is that? I love looking at spiders under the microscope. Now, in Essentia, this is obviously her first time in the tent. Well, she's had three tents now. And she just said how amazing it was. She didn't realize how beautiful a spider could actually be. I really like that. There was a fantastic comment that you made in Essentia, because it is true. They are totally beautiful. Laura Moy, you said that this was a jittery spider. It is indeed. Now, what it's doing now is it's trying to clean itself. It's, you can imagine the type of dust and all sorts of things that it would have collected. Didn't like that, that little bit of grass. Did you see that? Put it in between his mouth there. Oh, no, won't be having that, thank you. And it's not trying to eat those bits of debris, it's just trying to get rid of them. It was very dusty when it came out of the impala skull. I think it was an impala skull that I found it in. And then there's also some egg sacs, but we need to try and dig them out at one point. It'll take some time. Not from this spider, from another spider. Now, Jinlin, you're wondering if the leg will grow back on the daddy long-leg spider. I reckon, yes, it will, especially once it molts. Because remember, we were talking about molting with a sac spider. This is still a very young one. It's so small. It's smaller than it's about the size of my thumbnail. That's including its legs. So you can imagine how little it is, because daddy long legs have got exceptionally long legs, as their name suggests. I think once it regenerates again, once it molts, that leg will start to grow. How great was that? I'm so excited about that little spider. It worked out very, very, very well. It took a lot of patience in trying to get it to sit still. And at one point, in a sense, she shouted at me. She said I killed it because it was dead at the bottom of the container. And then I said to her, because a lot of the stuff is all new, because you haven't spent much time in the bush, have you, in Essentia? And I'm going to put her on camera as well before the show ends, so you can see what an Essentia looks like. And I said, no, actually, this is an amazing process where it's called death feigning, where they pretend to die, so they hopefully that their predator loses focus. And it was amazing. It just curled up into a little ball like that. And then all of a sudden it went, oh, I'm back again. Welcome, the spider show. And then off it carried on, wriggling around. Well, I need to release the spider, put it back in its impala skull where it will be much happier. But thank you very much for cooperating. Let's go back across to Biceps McGee and all the wonderful other nicknames that we get to call him.
Biceps McGee? When did I become Scottish? Oh dear, Taylor. That tent. Maybe we should get you out of there. I'm trying to have a look. I've got the spotlight out now. Now there are often owls around here. We hear them from time to time. Just need to find them. Still no sign of bush babies anywhere. I've been trying to look, but no sign. Sorry, Craig. No sign of bush babies. Tucker, you're 5 years old. Hello, Tucker. Good evening. Well, it's good evening for us. Not sure where in the world you are. I'm assuming you're in the United States. Tucker, you asked, are there any owls that sit on the animals like some of the birds do, like the oxpeckers? Tucker, there aren't. No. So the owls wouldn't sit on animals at all. They wouldn't feed on any of the ticks or any of the insects that are on the animals. So we don't see owls sitting on the animals at all. The owls will perch in trees and they'll swoop down and try and catch rodents or insects, even some little lizards. During the day they'll try to catch them on the ground. While we were sitting with Hosana, actually, I did get to see a little, what I thought was either a bushveld gerbil or a little elephant shrew, perhaps. That ran through scurried through the grass very, very quickly. But there was a little rodent that ran through there, so those little owls would be looking for that. Or those little creatures, rather. Now we're looking very carefully for silhouettes. Spaz, you asked what species of bush babies do we have in the Sabi sands. So we have the lesser bush baby and the greater bush baby. or also known as the thick-tailed bush baby. That's the large one, the thick-tailed bush baby, and then the lesser bush baby is the one that is more abundant. That's the one we see regularly. The little ones, those little bush babies, those are the ones that we see more often. It would be great to get a glimpse of an owl somewhere now. Okay, Craig, do you want to carry on checking silhouettes? I'll see if we can spot anything in the bush. I mean, I think it's about time we find a civet or a bush or a honey badger. Now, last night we actually had what sounded like a few little scops owls calling, not far from camp. So maybe we can still find one. We've got a few more minutes. Sorry, I'm just listening. I thought I heard an owl calling. So Craig pointed to the left, and Craig, it does sound like a pearl-spotted owl. It's a fork-tailed drongo that's calling, and I've been caught out before like that. The fork-tailed drongos, they often give a little whistle that sounds similar to that of the pearl-spotted owl, but that's definitely a fork-tailed drongo. I just heard a chirp from it now. The fork-tailed drongo, they imitate the owls for some reason. Now, Sinak, sorry Chantal, just give me Sinak's question again, please. Yes. So Sinak, we do indeed have elephant shrew in the Sabi sands. We do see, I have seen before, I've been sitting with lions actually, and I've seen an elephant shrew come running past. Oh, there's some bats flying around. That's not what we're looking for. These drongos, it's amazing that whistle that they do to imitate, but then every now and then they give that little like scratchy screech that the drongo gives. It could, yeah, it's very strange. Sounds just like a little just like a pearl-spotted owl. I've been getting so tongue-tied with these owls at the moment. I keep referring to a scops owl as a pearl-spotted owl and a pearl-spotted owl as a scops owl. Just too many owls. Now this is the tree we saw our scops owl in last night. Now I wonder if I play my call, because last night I played the call, and the scops owl did come out. I don't know if it was, that's the sound that we're listening for, scops owl, and then I'll play you the pearl-spotted owl for those of you who haven't heard it. That's the scops owl, and then the pearl-spotted owl. There we go, listen to this. Now that's a proper build-up, builds up to a whistle. Sometimes they'll just do this for a while, where they build up, and they'll stop. But then sometimes they end with the whistle. Do you hear that? So that's the pearl-spotted owl. Oh, Captain Awesome, you asked if I can find you a chameleon. I'd love to, but I do think that the chances of that happening are very slim at the moment, with it being winter. They're not nearly as active in winter. Snazzy, generally it doesn't rain in winter, not very much at all. Now and then we might get a drizzle if we're lucky. Now the other morning we actually had a drizzle. Tristan and Ali were out on drive, and they had a light drizzle. What was it? Just heard something chirping over here. So Snazzy, yes, we had a little bit of drizzle, but it's very unusual for this time of year to get any rain in this part of the country. It's very dry, but now and then you might just get some maybe a day where it's overcast, maybe a light drizzle. Alright, well, let's carry on our search for these little owls. Maybe we get lucky. Let's go back to the tent, find out what Taylor's up to, and is she excited about dinner?
Nah, not particularly, though. I love Amanda's cooking, but I'm not very hungry tonight. I think I might give dinner a skip. Anyways, look what I've got over here. Oh, I feel like I'm going to break it. It's quite a heavy skull. I know yesterday some of you were asking about that big skull that had a very big smile. I think, was this the smile you were referring to? Oh, crying its teeth. It must be a sign of agitation. Just jokes. This is a zebra skull. Well, we think it's a zebra skull. It was actually, this we didn't find out in the bush. It was from a taxidermy. But it looks very similar to a horse skull, but I suppose they're in the same, well, they're equises in the end, aren't they? Equidid, aren't they? Yep, so I'm sure it's exactly the same thing. They did say it was zebra. I don't know if they said Birchall's or Cape Mountain zebra. They didn't really specify. But beautiful nonetheless. Let me try and take it apart without breaking it. We'll rest this part. My goodness. But look at these teeth. Remember how we always say that you've got to be careful of zebra? Because not only can a lion actually be killed by something like a zebra with their powerful feet, but they've got a very powerful bite. Now, they wouldn't necessarily bite a lion, but they definitely bite other stallions when they are fighting. And I'm sure the mares bite back too when they get annoyed every now and then. But look at that. It's amazing. Now, just to try and describe to you how sharp this actually is. I reckon, if anyone have been bitten by a horse before, then you'll know exactly how sharp their teeth are. I've had a horse bite me once before and actually drew blood. It was that sharp, made more of a bruise than anything, but very, very important. And then lots of, look at the molars. Look how great, and molars are very important for grinding down food, of course, so there is no shortage of molars. Shall we count them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 6 molars on the top jaw on either side, the back part of the jaw. And then we've also got some smaller sort of molar-like teeth here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there we go. So that's pretty easy, in fact. So at the back of the jaw, top and bottom, 6 on either side. It's quite interesting. I actually didn't know this, so I'm learning now as well. And then top and bottom, closer to the front of the jaw, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 6 on the bottom as well. Pretty cool. I think it's quite amazing. Ooh. Now, Paul, you're wondering if these animal skulls, and you try and realign it again, are quite light. Most of them, not all of them, some of them are quite heavy. The buffalo skulls are particularly heavy, and so are elephants. But I think it depends on the bone density. But you can see that, I mean, this probably weighs about, I'm just trying to think, how many of these could I do, little reps, before my arm gets tired. I reckon this must weigh about 2.5, no, maybe even more, maybe closer to 5 kilograms, just shy of 5 kilograms, so about 11 pounds or so. It's not particularly light, but then again, it's not over the top heavy, but whew, let me do some rearranging here. I must make it face the right way. Please don't fall off because you will bring everything else down with you. Right, I did this. I was playing here and tried to make a pyramid of bones. Ah, that's heavy. It's an elephant as well, but this is the one I'm after. Shall we move the jars? Hey, in Essentia, because I reckon I'm gonna knock this. Go away, Impala. We love you, but we don't want to look at you right now. Oh my goodness! This is heavy. This probably weighs close to about, oh my goodness, maybe 12 or so kilograms. I mean, it's just also awkward to carry, but this is from an elephant. And I feel like the bone is almost not quite petrified, but it's definitely, I think, a lot heavier than what it would be. Now, to me, when I see something of this size in the bush, I feel like Fred Flintstone has been around, and Wilma had cooked him a nice steak of some sort from maybe a brontosaurus. That's what I always think whenever I see these massive bones. Now, it's actually not uncommon to find big elephant bones and things like that around in the bush, so we're very lucky that, and well, it's not, no, that's very sad. It's not very good that we see these bones. We obviously don't want to see big elephants taken down. They're my favorite animal, of course, but luckily for us, this one died of natural causes, and then we went and collected it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the tent today, something a little bit different. I quite enjoyed watching those clips. Brings back memories from last year, and hopefully the Nguhumas will return, and we'll be able to make new memories. But I'm going to send you across to, I don't know who I'm going to, Mara. I am. Oh, that's a surprise. Right. It must be quite dark now in Kenya, so let's go across to him, and I wonder if James is wearing his snazzy red jacket.
It wasn't, because the chefs had packed us a very pleasant sandwich box. We had some hot coffee and... I do not believe that it was constructed by someone with a great deal of thought for what its actual purpose was. It looks quite good, but it's, well, leaky, shall we say. We have not found anything further other than many more thousands of wildebeest and zebra, and we're now going to be driving, probably I would say until around 10 o'clock we'll get home. We'll do our best to try and find some nighttime hunting action. That's going to be our plan. We'll see if we can't spot some lions on the hunt. There is something that was hunted and indeed eaten, sort of. Can you see it there, Fergus? There it is, everyone. And, well, you see, so much just gets left sort of uneaten out here. Now, we only have 90 seconds left, and I don't think that that's a nice image for you to be leaving us on, so let us move on. I do apologise once again. We will do, I mean, Fergus and I haven't managed to deliver one full show at all without being nailed by the rain, so we will hopefully manage that sometime very soon. We will also be out pretty much, I mean, you must watch out on Facebook. We will be doing any night hunts that we get. We'll broadcast those there, and then early tomorrow morning there'll be the same sort of thing. It won't be me, and then I'll be out again tomorrow afternoon and evening. So that's the plan for the week, and then of course as we go to Thursday and Friday we're into rehearsals, and then the TV show on Saturday. So that's what our week looks like from the Mara. Alright everyone, that is going to be it from us. I know it seems like a very short time we've been talking to you. Thank you for bearing with us, and thank you very much to the Djuma team for holding the show. I believe Innocentia was on camera in the tent today, so well done Inno. Good stuff from you, and Taylor and Byron. Thank you to all of you for your questions and comments. We will do our level best to bring you something more stable tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you happen to be in the world. Bye bye.